Hi, my name is Jensen, and we are going to have a little late night slumber party chat. This is my 100 subscriber celebration video, and at this point, I'm basically like halfway to 200 now. So, sorry I've been putting this off, but I have a bunch of questions, and we're gonna get into them. And I wonder if you can see Maisie in the frame. I don't have the camera flipped around. I'm trying to get the highest quality lighting I can, while still having the cozy slumber party vibes with low lighting, even though I'm filming on an iPhone. So we're just going to see how it goes. Let's start. These are all such good questions. I don't even know if there's one that's necessarily easy. Oh wait, I should do an introduction. Hi, I'm CK Jensen. I write books, usually sci-fi fantasy. I've written 9 novels now, and I'm about to finish my 10th. I'm 25K away from finishing my 10th, which means I'm going to be done in a couple weeks. So I'm super excited. I've been filming a lot of vlogs recently, and I can't wait to get those up and out to you. So let's get right into the questions, okay? Hi, Maisie. Also, it's floor time. I don't know if you could tell, but floor time. So first, let's start with AK Boperais. They ask, what has been your favorite part of being on AuthorTube so far? And I have to say it's the community. I feel so welcomed into the community, and I just I feel I was always meant to be here, it's just so great and so fun. And I am so pleased to be here. So thank you all for accepting me into the community. I've made some amazing friends already, and I'm just really thankful for you all. I love you all. You're pretty neat. Dami asks, is there a genre you never see yourself writing? And honestly, I can never see myself writing horror or thriller. At least not in novel form, because I technically wrote a horror comedy type short story with I wrote a horror comedy short story called Vampire Ex-Boyfriend, which I don't even love the title, but I'm just comedy with horror elements, I think, is how we're pitching that. So it's a fun time, but I can't see myself ever writing horror thriller because I don't read them. I also never see myself writing grimdark, because that's just, I like to write stories with hope and with joy, and grimdark is literally the opposite of that. Whether it's grimdark fantasy or grimdark sci-fi, I just don't see myself writing horror, thriller, grimdark. Write with Joy asks, how do book ideas come to you, and how do you brainstorm? What's your favorite part of the writing process? Okay, I answered this on my Instagram because I think you actually asked the same question on Instagram when I didn't ask me anything. So thank you for participating all the time in my writing question asking for writing questions. I think that book ideas come to me a lot from reading other stories, and I think that's how all book ideas come to everyone. How creative you appear is directly or rather inversely proportional to how obscure the media you're pulling from is. If you're pulling from super obscure media, people are going to think you're super creative. If you're pulling from really commonplace media, they're going to think, oh, that's been done before. So I think just pulling from a mix of everywhere is really important. I do a lot of fairy tale retellings, but then I put queer spins on them. So I'm just what would this fairy tale look like if it were queer and feminist? Which actually reminds me, I'm doing a fairy tale course on my podcast with DC Wynters. The podcast is Quid Pros Quo, and we're going to be delving into feminist fairy tale retellings basically, and it's going to be a blast. You should all tune in for that. You can find it on Spotify or at the link in my bio. It's on all podcast platforms. It's doing great. Hi, Maisie. Are we having fun? And my favorite part of the writing process, that's a really good question. I'm trying really hard to bring the joy back into all parts of the writing process for me. And I'm trying to frame it as this is supposed to be fun. Because some things are inherently not fun. Querying, not actually fun. It's terrifying. It's anxiety inducing. But anyways, I'm trying to frame everything as this is fun, and I should be having fun doing this because I do this for fun. More than anything else, I do this for enjoyment. So I'm just yeah, I can do this, and it will be fun. So I'm having a lot of fun doing the first draft, and I think I always have a lot of fun doing the first draft because I love discovery writing and telling myself the story. It's just so fun to me. I love revising because I like polishing it and making it pretty and getting it as close to perfect as I can, even though I'm trying to dismantle that perfection mindset, but like just making it from something like really rough and like polishing it. And it's like when you like polish a rock or a gemstone and it just becomes so much prettier and like reflective and like you can see yourself in it. I love being able to see myself in my work, and I like seeing a more refined version of myself in my work. Like all my ideas like coming into crystal clear clarity. I think that's pretty neat. Ash Danny asked, how has your writing changed since your first book to the most current piece that you're working on? I started out like fully pantsing, except for like one idea, and I fully plotted my second book, and then I like kind of wobbled back and forth between plotting and pantsing for like several books, and now I've gotten really steadily into a, what do you call it, like a planting state, which I love because it has the word plants in it, and as you can tell, I love plants. My cat is trying to attack my plant right now. Hey Maisie, don't kill my plants. We're doing great. Anyways, so I've settled really firmly into planting, which not everyone does. Like, I like leaving room for myself to discovery write, but then I'm like, ooh, let's have a little bit of structure. So I actually just, it's like really late. It's like the middle of the night. It's 12:04 a.m. And I'm kind of wired because I just finished writing a whole chapter in a day. B, I'm like 500 words away from 75,000 words in the manuscript. I guess 65,000 actually, and it'll be 75,000 after I fix the missing 10K in Act 1, which that's an issue for another time. But I'm like at the 75% mark, The Dark Night of the Soul, and I just plotted the last 25K of the book, and I'm so excited, literally over the moon. Hey Maisie, no thank you. I'm so happy. Writing is so fun. I love writing so much. I'm writing my silly little gay stories, and it's a blast. Like, on that note, Sappho Lily asks, what is your heart project and would you ever publish it? Do you have one? And she's like, Kate Kavanaugh talked about this, which, by the way, Kate Kavanaugh is so cool. I want to be friends with Kate Kavanaugh, and I'm too scared to reach out to her. But my heart project, I think I have a couple. I don't think my heart project is exclusive to one book because I think at different points in time I'm different people and I have a different heart. So when I was writing All Hail the Queen of Hearts, which is my published novel, I'm not going to go grab it right now, but like when I was writing All Hail the Queen of Hearts, that was my heart book. And I think when I finally get to write the prequel, that will also be a heart book. And I'm hopefully writing that prequel later this year, but we'll see how it goes. Dawnless is definitely a heart book for me. So like All Hail Queen of Hearts is 19-year-old Rin's heart book. Dawnless is the 22, 23-year-old Rin heart book. So I think like just as I grow and change, I have different heart books. And would I ever publish it? Well, I published All Hail the Queen of Hearts, and I'm publishing Dawnless. And that's a little scary to think of them as like putting my heart out in the world because I think I'm scared of getting my heart broken. But also, I just think it's nice to like share my heart with people because what's the point of having a heart if it doesn't get a little bit broken sometimes? Because that means you cared, right? Like that means you loved. So, yeah, I think that'll be good. Finally, for the last question, Miley says, the people want to know your thoughts on art versus the artist. How do you think of your art in relation to yourself? And where do you think the author dies in terms of death the author? This is a whole other video, Miley. I love you, but this requires a whole video to really get into, and maybe I will make a separate video. My thoughts on art versus artist. I actually wrote a poem about this once. Let me see if I can like pull it up easily. This is a 2-part poem that I wrote. It's in an upcoming poetry collection that I think I'm finally going to put out into the world. Like, I don't think it's finished, but I think I'll just do a second volume or installment of it. So this is Art Against the Artist. And it was originally called Art Before the Artist, but it evolved. Part 1. When he watched the woman bathe, was it love or lust? Can you love someone you've never met? You can love an art piece whose creator you've never known. Can't you love a body without knowing it? 2. Why do we justify the actions of men? You gotta snap for yourself, because if you don't snap for yourself, who will? Especially when you're like filming alone in your apartment, right? So I like wrote that poem, and that was specifically about like relationships and hookup culture, but also like purity culture, like just kind of the clash of those two cultures that I was like experiencing at the time, because I grew up very religious, very Christian, very purity culture, and I was like leaving that and venturing out into like a dating world where it was like more hookup-y. But like I was going from this purity culture to this almost hookup-y culture, and it was really rough. And I was like, why are we justifying like men's actions in this? So, but then I like have this idea of like, you can love art whose artists you don't know. And I think sometimes it's easier to love art whose artists you don't know. Because I think of this as like, let's take the classic example of Harry Potter, and J.K. Rowling is a terrible person. Like, objectively evil, actually. Like, she's actively like trying to get trans people killed, and like writes under a male pseudonym to write transphobic books, which is so ironic and so hypocritical. But anyways, she is doing that, and that's like not good, and it makes it really hard for me to enjoy anything Harry Potter related now. Like, I'm just kind of boycotting Harry Potter. Yeah, which is like all fine and well and good. It's a children's book. I don't need to spend my time rereading children's books, except for Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. That is the one children's book that I will always go back and reread. I love that book. It's really easy to love art when you don't know that the creator is super problematic. And there's a really good like Tumblr text post analyzing how like you're not listening to what the author says about their work, you're listening to what the work says about the author, right? Because like J.K. Rowling may claim to not be anti-Semitic, but why does she have like this race of non-humans that like hold themselves away and also have all this power and control over society? Like, you're listening to what the work says about the author, not the other way around. So, like, I think it's really easy to love an art piece whose creator you've never known, who you don't know is bad and problematic. Because it seems like everyone is bad and problematic these days. And that's really rough. I'm still talking in circles. What was the next part of the question? How do I think about my art and my relationship to myself? I think it's, like, a part of me and it comes from me. But once I put it out in the world, that's no longer a part of me. Like, it came from me, but it's not a part of me anymore. It's a part of me, but once I like put it out in the world, like it came from me, but it is not of me anymore, if that makes sense. And when the author dies, is I think when you put it out in the world, you no longer have a claim to that. Like, that's between like the work is between the author and the work before you put it out into the world, and then it's between the audience and the work. And you have to do all your work before you put it out into the world, and then once you put it out in the world, the author dies. I think those are my thoughts. I made a mess of that last part. I had so many thoughts and I didn't do well. But if you want a full video on that, like, let me know. I will actually write up a script or bullet points at the very least, and I will get that figured out. If you have more questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I would love to do more Q&A videos like this because this is really fun for me. I believe it is time for me to sleep, but if you enjoy this video, please consider giving me a like. It really helps with the algorithms, and I know we all hate the algorithms, so we might as well like help each other out. It helps me reach more people. It helps you see more videos, not just from me, but from other author tubers who create similar content, and that's a win for everyone. So like if you would like, and if you would like to see more of my writing journey, I would love for you to click the subscribe button as well and follow along. Yeah, that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for coming to my little slumber party where I talked about too much stuff and rambled and definitely made a tired, slap-happy fool of myself. This was good. Thank you.